Hello everyone, I'm Exodia, and today we're doing part 5 in our beginner scripting series on Roblox Studio. Today I would like to revisit if statements and talk about embedded if statements. I'm revisiting if statements personally because I believed I could have done a better job. I think I was lacking in how I explained everything in the last video and want to do a better job to convey the information properly so you guys understand it. So as always, we'll get back into the tutorial, make a base plate in Roblox Studio, and then make a new script in server script service. Of course, you can call the script whatever you want. For organization purposes, I'm going to call this Roblox Scripting Beginner Series Episode 5. You can call it whatever you want, though, as long as it helps keep you organized. Now, what is an if statement? Often referred to as a conditional statement. An if statement basically runs a check for a condition, and if that condition is true or returns a true value, then code will be executed inside of that statement. So how would we make an if statement in Roblox Studio? First, we'd start off by writing if, and then we'd write a then. And then inside of this, so this is the first line of our if statement, and inside of this we write our condition. Now this can vary from 2 plus 2 equals 4. And when you make something like this, if it has an equal sign in it, you need to put 2 equal signs whenever you're making an if statement, as it's one of the operands. The other operands would include greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, which is a tilde and an equal sign, and then there's less than or greater than. For this sake, though, we'll just do equals as our example condition. Then if we drop a line, we have the end pop up. And so the code inside of this if statement will run so long as our condition equals true. And we know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, so this would be a true condition. So if we were to make a print 2 plus 2 does equal 4, and then we run this, in our output, we would see that yes, our if statement did print out 2 plus 2 does equal 4. Now, where this gets more in depth is if we want to combine a lot of stuff that we've learned. If you've been keeping up with the tutorials in the series, then there's a lot of information that we can apply here. Let's start off with variables. If you do not know what a variable is, it can basically be considered like a box that you could store information in. You could store a number or a decimal value, a string value, a true or false value, or an object inside of your variable. And they're really useful. Variables are kind of like I'd say the bread and butter for scripting, because no matter what, you're definitely going to be using variables while you're making your game. So let's make a variable. How you would make it in Roblox Studio is you'd write local, then your variable name. If you would like to define your variable value later, let's say like a number, you have to put an underscore before the name, so we'll do number. Then number equals 4, for example. However, we will set a value of our variable, so number will be equal to 4. We'll make another variable, local other number. And for good practice when you're writing variables, if you have 2 words inside of it, the first word should have a lowercase starting letter, and any word after that should have an uppercase starting letter, just for good practice. And we'll make our second number equal 5. So let's make an if statement and let's do some multiplication. So if 4 times 5 equals 20, then print number, and when we print, you write print and then open close parentheses. And if you want to include a variable inside of your string value, you do the variable name concatenate in Roblox Studio, that is 2 decimals. Then you do your quotation marks, and then basically what concatenating does is it combines, basically it'll combine 2 strings if you have a value. We could also put this in a toString, which you do not need to worry about exactly what this does, but basically it'll convert anything inside of these parentheses into a string value. Then we write multiply by, then we'll concatenate again and do another toString for our other number. And then we'll set it equal to, or well, in the string we'll say equals 20. And then another thing with if statements that we can do is else. If we write else and then press enter, it'll do some fixed indenting, and then here we can write another thing. So basically what happens is when we write else, if our condition does not equal true, so basically say so we have number times other number. Say we set other number to 6. Well, 4 times 6 is equal to 24, not 20. So then this would print the two numbers do not make a product of 20. And if we run this, you'll see that the else condition is met. Another thing you could do with your condition is if you want to include multiple conditions, there's and or. So if we write and, then both the first condition and that condition must be met in order for the if statement to run. So for example, if we want change this back to 5, and then we want to make number plus other number equals 9, then we could print instead our numbers have a product of 20 and a sum of 9. Then else, if this is not true, we will do for a sum of 9 here, just because 4 and 5 is our starter value. So we could run this here, and we can see right now the first condition is met. But if we were to change one of our values, then neither condition will be met. And let's say okay, we had a 3 as our first number and our 6 is our next one. Yes, the product is still the sum is still 9, but the product is not. So that means that the else condition will be met rather than the first condition, which is checking for both to be equal. So thinking about that, our message here probably could use a little work, but yeah. Then there's also or. So what or does is if we have multiple conditions, say we have 2, like we do here, if the first condition is not met, even though this condition may not get met, if the second condition is met, then the first side of the if statement will still run. Otherwise, if neither of them ring true, then else will run. But generally, you could use this. So like, if you want to say or that. So in this case, we could do the same thing where it's the 20, and then see the first statement runs, and then we change this to 6 and 3, and then the first statement will still run because they have a sum of 9. Now then, we could take if statements a step further and look at embedded if statements. What embedded if statements allow us to do is write an if statement inside of our if statement here. So we can remove this value. Let's remove our second condition. And then if we make an embedded if statement, and then say if number plus other number equals 9, we do that here, then print the sum is equal to 9, else print the sum is not equal to 9. Then also here we could do an else in our main if statement. Else if number plus other number, or here we'll do times other number does not equal 20, then we'll just copy our if statement. And then the same case is the first time. We could use our same numbers. So the first statement will run, and then we get the sum is equal to 9. However, if we change this up, and then we do 6, then the sum is not equal to 9, and our else side of the if statement will run. So yeah, this is you'll definitely in some cases be using embedded if statements. Say you wanted to check if a player had, well, mainly if you're gonna multiple conditions can be used. However, sometimes it is honestly better to use embedded if statements. But yeah, this is a revisiting of if statements. If any of my wording was bad or there's something that might have been misunderstood, please feel free to express that in the comments and I will respond to everybody. So yeah, if this tutorial was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also enable notifications because I make these tutorials every Wednesday and Sunday. So yeah, see ya.